As the late summer sun began to mellow over Skopje, the Scriptorium team turned their attention to the shifting rhythms of the city's flora. Elias and Jaina stood beneath the massive, sprawling canopy of a Platanus orientalis, the oriental plane tree, near the stone bridge. "These are the city's ancient sentinels," Jaina noted, running her hand over the mottled, peeling bark. Elias focused his camera on the sunlight, filtering through the broad, palm-shaped leaves, capturing the golden halo that signaled the coming change in the city's light. In a nearby park alley, Sylvan and Neven were investigating the heavy fruit of the Aesculus hippocastanum, or horse chestnut. Sylvan sat on a bench, his charcoal pencil flying across the page to capture the prickly, green husks before they split open. Neven knelt beside him, gathering a few fallen conkers to study their viability. They discussed how these trees, though iconic to urban boulevards, were facing new challenges from leaf mining moths, making their documentation in the living map more critical than ever. Inside the Scriptorium's mobile lab, Zoran and Kalina were examining the delicate reproductive structures of Hibiscus syriacus, the rose of Sharon. Zoran adjusted the magnification on a digital lens, revealing the intricate pollen grains on the stamen. Kalina explained the plant's resilience in the face of Skopje's dry heat. "It blooms when others fade," she said, pointing to the vibrant purple petals. They were cataloging how these late-season bloomers provided a vital nectar bridge for the city's dwindling bee population. Elias and Jaina traveled to the outskirts of the city to check on a stand of Fraxinus excelsior, the European ash. The trees looked stressed, their pinnate leaves yellowing prematurely. Jaina used a specialized drill to take a tiny core sample, checking for signs of the emerald ash borer. Elias documented the canopy density from below, his photos serving as a visual baseline for the health of the urban forest edge. They realized that the living map needed to function as an early warning system for the city's biodiversity. Near the colorful facades of the old bazaar, Sylvan and Kalina found a Catalpa bignonioides, known as the southern catalpa or cigar tree. Its long, bean-like seed pods hung like ornaments from the branches. Sylvan was fascinated by the contrast between the large, heart-shaped leaves and the slender pods. Kalina shared stories of how the tree's bark was once used in traditional remedies. They were mapping how these ornamental species, brought from afar, had woven themselves into the cultural and biological tapestry of Skopje. Along the Vardar's secondary canals, Neven and Zoran were monitoring the populous nigra, the black poplar. These fast-growing trees were essential for carbon sequestration, but their water needs were high. Zoran installed a new ultrasonic sensor to measure the speed of water transport within the xylem. Neven recorded the humidity levels under the shade of the poplars. They were calculating the evapotranspiration credit these trees provided to the city, cooling the air through the simple act of breathing. Kalina led Elias to a steep, grassy embankment on the slopes of Mount Vodno, where the first Colchicum autumnale, or autumn crocus, were beginning to emerge. These pale lilac flowers appeared without leaves, earning them the name Naked Ladies. "They signal the Earth's transition," Kalina whispered. Elias lay flat on the ground to get a macro shot of the delicate petals pushing through the dry soil. It was a reminder that the living map had to account for the ephemeral, the plants that appeared only for a few weeks each year. Back at the Scriptorium, Zoran and Jaina were integrating the new data into the holographic interface. The map was no longer static. It pulsed with the seasonal movement of sap and the shifting dates of flowering. Zoran showed Jaina how the model could now simulate heat islands and how planting more tilia trees could mitigate them. They were no longer just observers. They were using the Emerald Scriptorium to design a more breathable, sustainable future for the city. Neven and Sylvan organized a Harvest of Knowledge workshop at the local library, inviting the public to contribute their own observations. Sylvan displayed his sketches of the city's seeds, while Neven handed out packets of native wildflower seeds to eager teenagers. They were teaching the next generation how to read the city's green language. By involving the community, the living map became a shared responsibility, a collective effort to safeguard the botanical heritage of Skopje. Late that evening, Elias and Jana walked through the quiet paths of Gradsky Park, the air smelling of dry leaves and cooling earth. The Scriptorium had evolved from a simple survey into a living testament to the city's resilience. Elias looked at the digital tablet in his hand, seeing the map glow with the data they had gathered. "The map is never finished," Jana said, looking up at the stars through the thinning canopy. Elias nodded, ready to capture the next chapter of the city's eternal green story.